everyone, it's Nikki. So I wanted to talk about choices when it comes to healing from trauma because I think a lot of times when somebody has a reason why they can't do something because of trauma, we just sort of automatically assume that that person must want to fix that or must need to fix that or must, intend to overcome that. And I want to talk about that because I have done a lot of healing work and I've done a lot of work on things that I wasn't able to do because of trauma and being able to do those things again, but I also have many things that I don't actually intend to fix because they're not problems to me personally. And I want to talk about that a little bit. So, we all have things that we like to varying degrees. We have things that we really really love doing that we just love so much that it would really really be a problem for us if we couldn't do those things anymore. Then we have stuff that maybe we don't like to do. Maybe we try it once and we're like, I didn't really enjoy that. That was kind of boring. That wasn't really fun for me. I'm not really planning to do that again. Um, and then there's stuff that's in the middle. Stuff we're like, well, that's okay. I didn't mind doing that. I'm willing to do that, but it's not your favorite thing in the world and you would probably be okay with it if you never did it again. It wouldn't necessarily be a problem to you, depending on those things. Like maybe you're like, oh, I really really love to swim. I want to swim the rest of my life. I would never want to give that up. But you're like, well, I enjoy playing mini golf, but it's not that big of a deal to me. I'd be fine with it if I never really played again. It's just something I like to do once in a while. And maybe you're like, ugh, I really really hated playing football. Like it was too rough for me. I don't feel like I ever want to play football again. You know what I mean? So we all have things like that to varying degrees. And when you have a traumatic experience that makes it so that it's really hard for you to do something, or you can't do the thing at all because it's so traumatizing to you and it upsets you so much, in my case, my choice of like what did I want to work on had a lot to do with whether I was actually interested in doing the things or not. For example, I had a lot of trauma that had to do with like outdoors types of things and athletic types of things. And for a while, I was not enjoying swimming the way that I did when I was younger. And even though I was going swimming, there was like a hindrance there where I wasn't like fully enjoying it. I had a really hard time in social settings, making friends, talking to people, doing things like that, which was a priority to me. And also, I had a problem just like hiking, like walking in the woods was something that could trigger really traumatic flashbacks for me. And those are all things that I worked really, really hard on getting back because those are things that were really special to me. When I was younger, we had woods in our backyard where I used to go walking, go down to this brook, and I really enjoyed it. And that was something I lost from the trauma, and it was really important to me to regain that ability to have fun that way again. And same thing with swimming, it's not that I ever stopped swimming, but I really had like sort of a blockage there where I wasn't enjoying it the way I normally would prior to the trauma, and that was something I fixed. And there are a lot of things, the same thing with meeting new people, that was something that I really had to work through. But I got there and that's really special to me. But what I want to talk about is that every single thing isn't like that. Like for example, I had a traumatic experience that involved this orientation camping trip at my college. And I have very, very bad associations with camping and with canoeing. Those are both things that trigger a lot of traumatic flashbacks for me, and I never want to do them again. Those are not things I intend to work on because those are things that I never really liked to begin with. I'm not someone who's ever liked camping. It wasn't something that I really enjoyed. I'd only done it like a couple times before college, but it wasn't anything that I really enjoyed and that I was thinking to myself, "Oh yeah, like I'm assuming that I'm going to like go on a bunch more camping trips in my lifetime or anything." It wasn't really something that I was planning to do anyway. So it's not something where I'm really working on like undoing the traumatic association to be able to go camping because it's not something I want to do in the first place. Same thing with canoeing. Canoeing's a little different because I didn't, like, actively dislike it the way I don't like camping, but, I had this really traumatic experience involving canoeing on this college trip. I never wanted to do it again after that, but prior to that college trip, I had only gone canoeing one time, and it wasn't really my thing. It's not that I hated it that time, but it wasn't something that I was that interested in doing. It wasn't something like, "Oh, yeah, I love this so much, I wanna do more of it." So, the fact that it's like has a traumatic flashback to me and stuff like that is not really a problem to me because it's not something I was planning to do anyway, and those are not things that I intend to work on. Another thing, this is a smaller issue, but I never really liked seafood when I was younger. I may or may not have tried lobster when I was a kid. I don't really remember. I think my grandma might have given me some. I don't remember, but I had 2 times as an adult that I remember eating lobster, both of them were in a traumatic setting. Not that the lobster itself there was nothing wrong with the lobster itself, but just the setting and, like, what was going on. I have 2 really bad traumatic memories that involved a time when I was eating lobster, and so that's very much something that, like, I never wanna eat again. But again, I didn't like lobster in the first place. I'm not that into seafood. It may have been tolerable before. It may have been something like, oh, well, if that's what's being served, I'll eat it before. Now it's something that I'm like, okay, I'm never going to eat that. But again, unless it was something that I really, really wanted to do to begin with, it's not something that I'm going to choose to work on. That's how it is with all the traumatic things. And it's the same way with anything that I have trouble with because like, I have ADHD, and there are some things that are, like, harder for me to do because of that, but most of those things I don't really wanna do anyway. Like, I'm not interested in, like, keeping my house neat and organized or anything like that, so, like, that's not I wouldn't, like, work towards something that I didn't really wanna do in the first place, and so I just wanted to talk about that because I think, there's this big thing people talk about, like, people, like, dealing with their issues and stuff like that, and I just want to be clear that that is very much a choice. And like everything that I have chosen to work on healing it's all stuff that I very specifically wanted to do, and the traumatic associations I have with things that I didn't wanna do to begin with, I'm not really planning to do anything about or work on those things. So, just wanted to specify that, and that, like, if you've gone through any kind of trauma, make sure that you decide for yourself what is it that you wanna heal, like, where is it that you wanna be? What are the things that you would really, really like to be able to do, but the trauma's holding you back from, as opposed to things that, well, the trauma's interfering, but I wouldn't really be interested in doing that anyway, even if I didn't have the trauma. So it's just something that's worth thinking about, if you're going through anything like that.